Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 464, recorded on February 8th, 2024. On tonight's episode, it's business time. No, not that kind of business. Nintendo's latest numbers kind of business. And while Justin looks to purchase Sega for Sega's moms, and Marty visits his brother Jelly Roll, and Jesse and I hold down the fort, we'll get things going here and talk about those numbers. Jesse, you know what to do. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Jesse, how are you doing today? It's been 2 weeks since I've seen you guys. I've been away for a couple weeks, and everybody's already saying, like, am I leaving and all that kind of stuff, just because I was talking about Marcus's video about burnout.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. While I have felt burnout off and on, but because that's why I don't do a lot of content outside the show, but we still ready to do the show every week.
Yes. Yep. And I just had life going on, so that's why I wasn't able to come in the last couple weeks. So that's all it was. And the only reason why I posted something about Marcus's video, and believe me, you should go check it out. I forget his last name, but Marcus, the guy who talks about electronics and stuff like that, he was talking about everybody who's quitting on YouTube, and he did a video, and it led to burnout and how people can kind of manage that. And I thought it was a good video to share with people who, may need to have that advice on making sure they don't get burned out. That's all.
Your friend says you were at Nintendo getting the scoop on the Switch.
Yes. Shh, I'm not supposed to talk about that. So I wish that was the case. Yes, the Nintendo Dad sent me over to Nintendo World headquarters, and I got to get the scoop on the Switch, where it follows everything that you guys went to the future and saw and came back and talked about. So we're good.
I forgot about that skit we did last week already.
It was great. I loved it. Actually, I was going to say you guys actually didn't time travel. You guys went to an alternate universe, and that's what you guys saw. So hopefully...
Yeah, that's what it was.
Right. Hopefully you went to the right one, but if it comes out any different, then it means you guys went to the wrong alternate universe. That's all. That's all that means.
Right.
All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about, believe it or not. Just us two, Jesse. So hopefully we can get through this. We got Nintendo numbers to talk about. So let's jump into the news. All right. The news is brought to you by everybody over at Patreon because they're awesome. Patreon.com/Nintendo Dads if you want to join. And if you join for only $1 a month or more, depending on what level you want to give, you get ad-free versions of this podcast. So that means you don't have to listen to the ads that come in that get stuck in between some of the conversations we have, or even our own ad read. It gets removed, and you get to listen ad-free because you're paying for it yourself, essentially. So we appreciate it, and thank you for everybody who does that over there. And just a quick shout out to those who do a Twitch subscription too. We don't forget about you, and we appreciate what you do over there for giving us a Twitch subscription, even if it's the free one you get from Amazon Prime. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check it out. Amazon Prime gives you free Twitch subscriptions for one Twitch channel a month, right? I get that right,
Yep.
Jesse? The one
That sounds right.
that you can give. The only thing is it doesn't automatically update. So when that expires, you have to come back and give it to whoever you were subscribing to. But with that, just remember you get perks with that. You get to come into our Discord, just like the Patreon does. And yes, I am looking into seeing if you also can get the ad-free version as well. So there's some things I got to do or look at to do that because the ad-free one um, is based on what Patreon allows us to give to our members. So I have to look to see if there's a way to give it to the Twitch members. We'll see. I'm looking, trying to research. All right. With that, let's jump into some of the news items. But before we jump into the numbers, let's talk about a few things here that came about as well. One of those things was Nintendo Direct. Did we get it? No, we didn't.
Nope.
There was not one. Will there be one? Well, Jesse, you had posted something in our Discord that kind of reminded people about the timing of what they did last few years on
Yeah.
the.
Well, yeah. Last week I said that for the last 2 years, it was the day after the financials came out. So we were expecting, they came out on Tuesday. So if it was the same as this year, it would be the 7th. Didn't happen. But the 8th and the 9th has a different pattern. It's the second Wednesday of the month of their respective year. The 7th is still the first Wednesday. So if that pattern holds, then we might get one on the 14th. And then, of course, Nintendo's going to Nintendo, and there really is no pattern, and they'll just do what they want when they want. So,
Right.
but it's still kind of fun to speculate.
Just to throw people off. There's still 3 weeks left, so we got plenty of time. So the idea is if there's a pattern, then we should expect to see something here, an announcement maybe Tuesday, then in the next 24 hours, there'll be something on Wednesday, the 14th, right? So
Yep.
it's the way the pattern usually goes. So we'll see. We'll see if that carries out since we didn't get this one this week. Let's see if this happens next week. And if not, we still got 2 weeks after that to figure if we get one at all in February. And then it's open season then.
Yeah. And of course, it is possible that they may have nothing new to share until they do the successors reveal.
Yeah,
But
that is correct.
I still think we'll get one more Switch specific direct out of it.
Or just a drop on Twitter or the socials, a teaser video on all the
Yeah.
socials, so at the end of March, right, Jesse? Last week of March. That's what you're hoping for.
Yep.
Get those points. All right. The other thing too that I guess you guys saved for me from last show was EA is looking forward to Switch 2's improved technical capabilities. Basically, if I remember hearing Marty correctly, they were saying they're going to keep an eye on things again, right? Just to see, because Marty wanted to see my reaction to that, right? Like
Yeah.
my reaction to EA's response about keeping an eye on the Switch again. And when I heard that, yes, if I was on the show, I probably would have been losing my mind. Then it was like, EA, didn't you learn your lesson this last time with the Switch? With this whole, yeah, we'll see what happens with the Switch 2. It's like, but I don't know. I didn't get to read the whole article yet, but I'm hoping it's more of just seeing what they announce or bring to the table or, those in the know if Nintendo's talking to EA at all to be able to get them in on, a release window for a successor. So, but we're definitely going to be talking about more about that in a moment in regards to the successor, especially after the reports we got. But first, a couple other news items. We have the CRKD or the cracked announcement. The makers behind Nitro Deck, which is the one that I have and Marty has, and I don't think Jesse, you don't have one of these, right? But
No, I don't.
we have these, the Nitro decks. They just announced today they have new Bluetooth controllers. It's called the Neo S. It's designed for the Nintendo Switch, but can be also be used with the PC, your mobile, and a smart TV for gaming. So, like if you remember correctly, Samsung TVs have the ability for you to play Xbox Game Pass on it. So, the Bluetooth controller is supposed to be able to allow you to connect to that Bluetooth device and play games on it. And I imagine probably even like Apple TV, because I think you can play games through Apple TV as well.
Yeah, because like a lot of the like Apple Arcade games can be downloaded to an Apple TV and played with a paired Bluetooth controller.
Nice. These controllers also have that famous Hall effect thumbsticks that everybody wants because it's supposedly not going to drift. Time will tell with that. So, the design theory is that it would not drift. It has adjustable trigger sensitivity, swappable stick tops, and remappable back buttons. It is the interesting part of it is that it's shaped like a phone. So, your chocolate bar type shape, just like
Yeah,
that.
so like a rectangle.
Yep, just a regular rectangle, but it uses a lot of the colors and designs that the Nitro deck is known for. So these NEOSs are they look pretty cool. Plus, they have some new designs that the Nitro decks don't even have. So, unfortunately, we aren't part of their partner program where we were able to get our hands on anything early. But I did put in pre-orders for controllers for us to review and one to give away. So stay
Ooh,
tuned. Once we get one of those, we'll be able to give one away. And as I show them off and share which ones I got. And the reason why we're going to give one away is because I couldn't decide which color I wanted. So I'm going to let you guys pick. So if you win, you get to pick which of the two I can't pick from that you want. So
that's one way to do it.
Unless I change my mind at the last minute and decide to keep one, a certain one. So we'll see. All right. So I'm looking forward to getting those. It's supposed to be sometime in April that we'll get them. Um, I also want to look into seeing if we can get, I want our own design controller, so maybe we can talk to the crack team and say, hey, those look like something you can put our design on. Can we get a Nintendo Dad's cracked Neo S controller? That'd be pretty sweet, I think. So
It'll be fun.
we'll see. Got to reach out to them. But I imagine there's going to be others who are in the partnership. So keep an eye out for their video. They do have a overview video themselves, the Cracked YouTube channel for the Neo S. You can see the overview video. If you're in our Discord, I posted it there as well. And then I'm sure there's going to be some YouTubers out there, content creators who will have the advantage of having it before I do. And I'm sure we'll be talking about it. So keep an eye on YouTube for that. All right. Any ideas on behind that those controllers, Jesse? What do you have any interest in those?
I looked at them, but I'm not a fan of the form factor, so
Okay.
I didn't
Yeah,
place any orders.
that one. It does
I
have it, even though it's shaped like the rectangular, it does have the grips in the back, like the cracked excuse me, the Nitro deck has, the little hump in where the you can hold on to it. You
Yeah.
need humps to hold on to.
you
Anyways.
know, I just like I'm just so too used to the form factor of your standard normal
Yes.
Xbox Pro controller, PS5
And that's
controller.
fair. That's fair. I know there's a lot of people who I think there's a love-hate relationship with the cracked the Nitro decks. So um like for me, the main thing was the placement of where this right stick is on this side because it's really low and you have to hold, you got to really bend that thumb to get to it, depending on the game you're playing. Um so there's some cons to it, but there's a lot of people who love it and I love the designs of them. So like I said, we'll be checking it out in April. All right, next up on the list of news, we have Palworld versus the Pokemon Company. So the latest news on that, a major talent agency in Japan tells their clients not to mention Palworld for fear of ruining future collaborations with the Pokemon Company. Here's what the talent agency source told Tokyo Sports. We have told our talent not to mention Palworld on social media or in public. This was done out of consideration for the Pokemon side as an agency. This decision was made in consideration of future potential collaborations. What do you think, Jesse? Is that smart or are they just kind of like being
I can see
overprotective?
both sides. One side is, yeah, they want to protect. It's smart to protect their talent to that they don't say something that'll jeopardize future relationships. But on the other side, if the Pokemon Company is actually going to not hire someone because they mentioned Pal World, that's kind of petty on their side, and I
Yeah.
kind of hope they don't do that.
Yeah,
But
we don't like
I
the
don't
petty
blame
stuff.
the agency for CYA, right?
Right. No, that makes sense. And there's times where we have to do that ourselves, even though we don't have an ad agency or an agency behind us. We're just trying to, be cognizant of who we work with
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well,
So,
yeah, they without saying specifically what, there have been topics that we agreed we wouldn't mention on the show
yeah,
because we don't want to jeopardize our relationship with other companies.
right.
So
Yes.
we,
So we know
we
how that
we've
goes.
we've done the same thing. We just haven't openly announced
Yeah,
it,
we didn't have statements saying we've decided to take this route.
right?
So,
Things
all
like
right.
that I may still mention on pre and post show, but
Yep, that's
uh,
where we
that's
talk about it, or in our Discord.
or in Discord.
Yep, because we could talk about it there. All right. Next up, Switch is the main business in 2024.
Of course it
So this
is,
is
because
this
what else
is
do they have, right?
right. So this is what we were talking about a little bit earlier, hinting at that we were talking about the Switch successor a little bit. Nintendo president says current Switch will be main business in 2024. The company's plan for the next fiscal year will be shared at its next earnings briefing, he added. The company's plan for the
Yeah,
next fiscal year will be shared at its next earnings briefing, he added.
yeah, and then that'll be like the first week of May or somewhere early May when they talk
Yep.
about the fiscal year end. And yeah, we've seen this before from Nintendo. There's no new 3DS coming until there is
Right.
3 days later.
Right.
So kind
Yep.
of yeah, this is not a surprise statement.
And we know that they work but with pillars, right? We know that they're not just going to shut off the Switch and go to Switch 2. We know that there's going to be a plan to finish out what they have for the Switch and support that until its end of life, going into the Switch 2 or successor or whatever, right?
Yeah. As
So
long as
yeah,
they
it's
still sell, they'll still support it. Just like, they wanted to kill the GBA long ago, long before they finally did, but the
right.
GBA was still going. And
And that
then
that could happen with the Switch. You never know,
yeah,
because it might be a cheaper version, and
and at the time they weren't sure how well a DS would do, so it was this is just a third pillar.
right. It makes sense.
But as soon as they had the chance to drop GBA, they did.
And that might be what they're trying to do is play it safe, right? So, but it's also scary at the same time. Like, okay, if you're going to have a successor, just do the Switch 2. Keep it easy, Switch 2, right? I think you
Yep.
guys talked about that last week. It's just keep it easy, Switch 2.
Yeah. It's the Switch, but more as opposed
Yeah.
to what the hell's a Wii U. That,
Yeah, Switch.
I was at that E3 when they introduced Wii U, and I didn't know what it was at the end of it.
Yeah. Yep. It's I'm sure they're hesitant because of their history.
Yeah,
But I'm also hoping that maybe they got some consultants or something to help with, giving them some direction or whatever.
but really, there's never really been any generation by any company that if they had a strong generation, the next one stayed strong.
Yeah.
It like I think the closest is PS4 to PS5, but there was a thing called 2020 in the middle that kind of messed things up for everybody.
Yep. That is very
So,
true.
but yeah, PS2 was good, but they crapped on the PS3 launch. 360 was good, but they crapped on the Xbox One launch. Wii was good, but they crapped on the Wii U launch.
Yep.
So
Maybe that's what they're trying to mitigate is just
yeah, they definitely want to avoid this. We've had multiple examples of it. They should see this coming. They don't want to repeat that.
yeah. Well, they had success. I guess the one that did do fairly well is the NES to the Super NES, right? Because it was like NES was the first console and it did well.
Yeah, I think that started strong, but I think still overall they sold less than the NES. if I remember my
The
numbers. Well, we
Super
have the numbers
Nintendo?
here, don't we? Yeah,
Uh,
I don't remember the numbers, but I think
yeah,
we
it's
can
on
pull
my
them
it's
up
on
real quick.
my list right there. It was like Super NES had 49 million and NES had 62 million.
Right.
So yeah, it was less. It wasn't more successful. And
Yeah,
then the
and
next system that came
N64
after
was
that
down, GameCube was down. So every generation went down until the Wii.
until the Wii, it just kept going down and down and down.
Yeah, GameCube
But
was
what
only
saved
21
them was
million.
their handheld market.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, we're talking about numbers, so let's just jump into the numbers. Why don't we do that? So,
Point?
Switch sells 6.90 million units between October 1st through December 31st. So almost 7 million units in the holiday time worldwide for a total of 139.36 million units sold. So in
Oh,
comparison,
getting so close to that 150 mark.
yes, the Nintendo DS for has 154 and PlayStation 2 has 155. But I did hear too that in regions like Japan, Japan's close to getting to be having the Switch being the number one console sold
I,
there.
I read I read an article saying that they did pass.
They did pass it. Okay, so it's we're already on the way there, it seems.
Whatever the previous winner was, I don't remember. I just saw the headline. I didn't read
Okay.
the article. It was like just a tweet notification. Someone
So
posted an
either it's
article about
close
this.
or it did finally go over. So it's in Japan at least. But worldwide sales were still, um, was that 15,000 or 15 million away from getting that number?
Yeah.
So you think it can be done?
Um. I. It depends on how long the tail is after the successor launches. Unless they're delaying that until 25, which now I said last year, if they did, they definitely would break the numbers, but I don't know if they want to wait that long.
Right.
But since I think we're all in agreement that they're not going to just cut off the head like the Wii U.
Right.
They'll keep supporting the Switch, so there'll be a tail, and especially if it gets a price cut to make room for the successor. That will
Pri-
drive purchases.
A price cut and or maybe even another revision, do you think, for the Switch? I mean, we got the OLED, but I don't know if that counts compared to other devices that got revisions. I think GameCube was the only one that did not have a revision, but
And
unless you
64
count the
never did
Wii,
either.
that's true. The Wii had a revision. The
Multiple.
Super, yes, and the Super Nintendo had a revision at the end of its life. NES had a revision at the end of its
Oh
life.
yeah. Um, I don't think we're gonna see like any revision that'll. Well, the reason for those revisions were to try to decrease the manufacturing costs.
Yes. And
I
plus, it went from one device to another, and they weren't backwards compatible, so people wanted to keep probably playing those games.
Yeah.
So I could maybe there is a revision if we don't have a Switch 2 and we have some totally new device that is not backwards compatible. And I've you've probably read just as many articles as I did about how unhappy people would be if it was not backwards compatible.
Right. I would be in that group.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So
I think even in our own Discord, people were saying they would not be
yeah,
happy.
I'm not expecting a lowered cost Switch alternative.
Yes.
It'll
Yeah, I don't
just
think
be.
so either.
I think I would think that they might do a $50 price cut across the board, making it 150, 250, 300 for the models until they eventually sell out.
Do you think they would do if it's a Switch 2, is that still considered a family of Switches? And
I
would
would
that be
think that
counted towards
I
the numbers?
no, I think that would be a new generation.
Okay.
They would start those numbers over. If we had a Switch Pro 2 years ago, like we wanted, that
Yeah.
would be rolled into these same numbers.
Okay. Gotcha. I was also thinking maybe would it be possible that they kind of rebrand the Switch line so that if they do, excuse me, come out with a new Switch successor, that would they rebrand the OG Switch to some other name, and the Switch
I don't.
Lite already has its name, and then there's the
I
Switch
don't think
2.
so. I think that would be confusing because we've had 5 generations of PlayStation. People know not, if the
One,
game
two,
says
three, four, five.
PS5, it can't be played on a PS3
Right.
or vice
Yeah.
versa.
The problem, and you guys brought this up before too, is just like, yes, it's so easy. Just come out with a Switch 2, call it Switch 2, and you're good. But Nintendo doesn't do that.
Right.
That's the
And
frustrating part, and
which
that's why we
could
don't
which could
know.
lead to confusion if they did that because they've never done it before.
True. All right. So one of the things that I like to do is I like looking at the numbers a little bit differently than I haven't seen anybody else look at it this way. And that's I combine it because the Switch is a hybrid system, right? It's handheld and a home console. We never had that before. We've always had two separate consoles. We had a home console and the handheld. So what I like to do is I like looking at the combination of the handheld and home console numbers together and compare it to the Switch. Since it's all in one system, I'm kind of doing the same with the numbers. So for example, again, hardware for the Nintendo Switch is 139.36 million units. Hardware compared to the Wii U and 3DS was at 89.5 million units. So I
Yep.
think, Wii U obviously we know didn't do well, but 3DS did pretty good. 3DS had 76 million
Yeah.
units
It did.
sold,
It was good. It just wasn't as good as its predecessor.
right? And we talked about that, right? It's like seems like
Yeah.
the initial one's great, and then
Yeah.
the
Again.
successor is not so great.
Again. It had a crap launch.
Yes, it
Went
did, and
back,
they
and then
recovered,
they dropped the price by $80, and
right?
things got better.
So speaking of the predecessor, the DS came out around the same time as the Wii. So those numbers together with the DS and DSi, because it was considered the family of DS
Yep.
systems, along with the Wii, was 255.65 million units sold for that, compared to, again, 139 million units sold for the Switch. So that's a big number. I don't think they're going to be able to get that one.
Yeah. I think uh, industry wide, that is the record holder there for a
Yeah,
generation of between all systems from a company.
right. Yes. And that is what I like to look at. So, and I'm sure Nintendo's even looking at that, like because they combined the two together and they only got 139 million units sold and potentially 150, we'll say, in the end, um, they will never get as successful, I don't think, as those two together. It's
Right.
going to be hard for anybody to do that, I think.
That they would need two distinct units again
Again,
in
right?
order to have and both be gangbusters.
Yep. The next closest one to that is the Super Nintendo and Game Boy Color era, with 167.79 million units sold with that combination.
But
So,
but for its hardware sales, it had a surprisingly low software sales, only 880 million.
yes, that's a good point. 880 million compared to Nintendo Switch's software sales of 1.2 million,
Yeah, 1.2 billion.
1.2 billion
And I
units
don't
sold.
remember if we talked about it with the Wii and DS, but that had software of 1.8 billion.
Yes, which is pretty, looking at it again, 255 million hardware units sold for the Wii and DS with 1.8 billion units sold for software compared to Nintendo Switch's almost 140 units in hardware, 140 million units, and 1.2 billion units of software.
I'm kind of crunching numbers real quick about software per hardware, which, for the
Yeah.
Wii DS era, it's 2.1 games per,
Okay.
which means with, how many dozens of games did we have? That means there's dozens of people that bought a game and that's it.
Right. Couple games.
I can't even imagine being that person.
Mario Kart has got to be one of them. Some sort of Mario Kart,
Yeah.
and then something else along with
And
it.
the Switch is 8.6 software per hardware.
Okay, 8.6. All
Yeah.
right.
And the Super Nintendo Game Boy is 5.2 software per hardware,
All right. Nice.
which seems to be about the average. Looks like the GameCube GBA is about the same.
Awesome. Well, some of the other numbers I played with too was combining systems. So the hardware, like for example, all of the DSs and DSIs and 3DSs, the numbers there. The hardware for that number was 229 million units, so almost 230 million units sold for all of the DS, DSi, and 3DS systems. So I thought that was interesting with against the software that they sold, which was 1.3 billion. Again, that's for the DS, DSi, and 3DS.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Wii U and Wii combination of numbers, that's 115 million units. Switch has definitely surpassed that. And also surpassed the software, which was 1.02 billion
Yeah.
units.
So that combination of systems
Hmm.
has the highest software to hardware ratio of 8.9.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Beat,
For
you
the
know,
Wii U and Wii.
it beats the Famicom and N64 and GameCube combined that you have, and it beats the Switch.
Wow. That's crazy. And then there's also, well, the 3DS, DS, and DSi had the largest number of hardware units sold. And the next one in line is the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color. That hardware is
Yeah.
200
Well,
million
yeah,
units.
the DS, alone with its 155 helps.
It
Or
helps push it
154.
over there, right?
Yeah.
All right.
and,
So,
and and your fourth example, it took 4 system generations to add up to 165.
right. You got the NES, Super NES, N64, GameCube, 165 million
Yeah,
units,
and as we said, each generation sold less than the prior.
right? All right. So, with all those numbers looked at, we had fun with that. There's a couple more things. Sales forecast for 2024 fiscal year has increased by 500,000 units to 15.5 million units. As of it's 13.74 sold in Q1 through Q3 so far, an increase over the same period from last year, which is cool. All right. Still the lowest selling hardware numbers in 4 years, but the highest number of users, which I thought was interesting. You had put this number in here, and then I also posted the chart in here just because I like looking at pretty bars. But it was up 122 million uh users, or what was it? Yeah, users over 114 million from last year. And it's gone up every year. So in 2018, they had 31 million users. 2019 was 50 million users. 2020 was 81 million users. 2021,
Yeah, that was the biggest jump. Again,
I guess
2020
31
being
million.
2020.
Right. 31
So,
million jump right there. Then 100 million in 2021, 114 million in 2022, and then
so,
2023 is
so
122.
while it's still increasing, it is starting to plateau a little bit.
Hmm. People are starting to, well, what is it called? Saturation. There's a
Yeah,
lot of people that have it.
yeah.
Everybody's got
So,
multiple switches.
based on that, like it was only an 8 million increase, only, but which hints that next year will still be less than that. So it's not should not reach 130 if this pattern holds.
Well, the other thing too to keep in mind is that it's holding as well. So
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of
You
people,
haven't had a drop,
yeah, there might have been some people who did drop, but it's holding
but you
still
had more
above.
people. You had more people sign on than drop.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which I thought was very interesting as well. All right. Jesse, any thoughts on any of these numbers so far before we start jumping into software? Anything that stuck out to you?
Um, no, I'm still, I thought that this year might have actually sold more than last year, but it it hasn't. But it's really close. But
Okay.
I think it's in fact it might be the lowest out of 5 years. Uh, it's hard to tell without more horizontal split dividing lines.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, definitely the Switch sales are still continuing, but they are all still slowing.
Okay. Nice. Yep. So, and I see Nefrendo's here in our chat and on Twitch here, and then we had Hambo and Johnny over on YouTube pop in. So thank you. And Ms. stopped in as well. And Nefrendo's got a lot of comments in here. I'm trying to catch up on here. So, Switch Prime. And there's Darth Platypus coming in saying, hey there. So, yeah, let us know what you guys think of these numbers if you happen to look at them or if you're just listening. Um, and if you're listening to the podcast, we'd love to hear what you guys think about it too. So we're in Facebook, we're in all the social medias. I won't list them all off, but we're all there. So if you want to let us know your thoughts on the numbers or if they mean anything to you, maybe they don't mean anything. Maybe you don't care. You just want games. And then we know how you feel about the games. It feels like there's nothing coming up that you're interested in. We see it in our Discord. Everybody's saying, they're bored. They don't have anything to play or they're running out of their backlog, which I think is crazy. Who runs out of their backlog? Come on, everybody's got a large backlog, right?
Yep.
So, but anyways, yes, there's some people are not looking forward to everything that Nintendo has on their in their what they showed off so far, right? And we'll talk about upcoming games and we'll talk about, you know, is it enough to hold us over? And we know how it is. This is how it is every year in this beginning of the year. We're like, oh, there's nothing Nintendo has. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's all these announcements that we weren't expecting. Like Wonder, right? We didn't know about Super Mario Wonder until late in the year, right?
Right. Yeah,
So
it was. I think it was around E3 time when it was announced, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like so
Well,
we still got we I mean
uh,
we'll talk about it in a minute. So we'll get
yeah.
there.
In
All
fact,
right.
I did write the date it was announced in my spreadsheet here. If I could find it. Da, da. Yeah, June 21.
Okay. Yeah. So it was getting towards the second half of the or yeah, the back half of the year and we got that announcement. So which was really cool. All right, let's talk about some of these software numbers. One of the things that I liked looking at too was just how well did software do in 2023 specifically, or the fiscal year 2023 versus what we usually talk about, right? The top 10 games, accumulation of numbers over time. And Jesse does a great job in keeping track of the numbers, even though Nintendo only gives us like the top 10. Jesse does a really good job in keeping up with the numbers on some of the other games that we're interested in as well. But before we get into those, I want to talk about some of the numbers that we got for the games that came out in 2023, fiscal year 2023. So we got a 9-month list of numbers. And Jesse, even though I know you can see this, guess what number one is for
Um,
the 9-month
the
sales?
the game that has a big horn in the on the gamepad but screen.
Mhm. Okay. Good, good guess. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom had the
Oh,
most.
okay. I thought you were talking about year to date, not just this quarter.
Nope, just I'm talking about the global sales from April 2023 to December 2023.
Okay, okay. I was looking at lifetime sales. You're thinking of fiscal year sales. I got it now.
Fiscal year sales, yes.
Yeah,
So Legend of Zelda was number one, and then Super Mario Brothers Wonder is number two.
at almost 12 million units.
Yes, that's all, and that was like Tears of the Kingdom came out in
It
May,
was it was
and Wonder
it
came out in
like what 10
October,
weeks.
right? So
Yeah, yeah. Mario Wonder was October, so it was about 10 weeks for
yeah,
sales
that's
to get to
crazy.
12 million.
I wonder what everybody got for Christmas.
Right.
And then after that, we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, still number three. That came out the first year the Switch came out, and that's number three on the sales charts for 2023 for Nintendo.
Over 60 million.
And let me remind everybody, the software unit sales include the quantity bundled with hardware and other products as well as downloadable versions. That's what
Yeah,
they
so
know us
all
for.
those holiday bundles counted as a Mario Kart
Yep.
sale.
Yes. Then we got Pikmin 4, Super Mario RPG came in at number five. Yep. Which is really good. That came out in November, and that's number five on the charts.
Yeah, just over 3 million units for each of them.
All right. Then you got Nintendo Switch Sports. That was number six. Animal Crossing New Horizons, number seven. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, number eight. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, number nine. That is number nine, right? One, two, three,
I think
four,
so.
five, six, seven, eight, nine. Yes. And then Mario Party Superstars, number 10. That's pretty good, but
Yep.
especially with some of those games that came out late in the year. So, what does that all mean overall? We got our top 10 games that, life to date sales, right? Which is, again, number one is Mario Kart still.
Yeah. Actually, the biggest surprise of this lifetime sales top 10 list was both Zelda games had lower sales this quarter than the previous quarter, even though it was during a holiday period.
You think
But
it's, go ahead.
I don't know why, but I just found it weird that all the other 8 games in the top 10 increased over the previous quarter, sometimes significantly. Like Mario Kart 8 was like 3 times the last quarter. Again,
What?
hardware sales with that.
Right. Yes.
But
So
both
do you
Zelda
think it
games dropped.
because do you think they cannibalized each other? Like, if you don't know which to
Mario
get,
might have the new Mario game might have just
true,
cannibalized
the Mario
both
Wonder game,
both Zelda games.
right? But I mean, if you're somebody who's coming in and doesn't know Nintendo, and you're still looking, and you don't know if you know you want to get a gift for somebody who has a Nintendo, or you want to give them a Nintendo Switch, and you're not sure which Zelda to get, and you can't talk to the person that works there, like you're buying it at a department store or something. You see two Zelda games, you're just like, oh, I'll get that one, or whatever is
Right.
available.
Or they'll go with the Mario because they know what it is.
They know what Mario is. That's true. Because Odyssey was, number five still on the all-time list, and we saw that was number five on the
Yeah.
in the sales. So
Yeah.
right
Well,
there,
it looks like Scarlet and Violet's catching up to Sword and Shield. It sold over 1 million units this quarter, where Sword and Shield only sold 150,000.
yes,
But so there's like 1.8 million units separating them. So
that's
like
crazy.
the within a year they could pass each other,
What I find
which
interesting
is
still,
which
every
is
time we see,
surprising because the game is garbage.
right, that's what I was gonna say. Is like it that just proves that the majority of the people who buy this stuff aren't listening to the news or reading the news or listening to podcasts. They're not into the weeds like
Oh
we are.
yeah, I would say past 6 months past a game launch, most of the sales after that are going to people to the general public and not people who follow the news like we do
Right. They're
or
just
our
casual.
listeners.
They know about video games. They know
Yeah,
they, know,
they see a box on the shelf and grab it.
they know about Pokemon because they might have played it when they were a kid and they're buying it for their kids or something or whatever. But yeah, it's intriguing to see the numbers and understand it. And that's probably why we don't get a fix because it
Yeah.
doesn't matter
Oh,
about us.
Nintendo asked about Splatoon. Splatoon was the bottom game on the list of the million sellers. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th place at 1.04 million.
The last one on the list here. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, overall sales was good, right?
And
It's still
it's if you see us looking at this and thinking a bit before saying how many million, because the numbers shown are in 10,000s, not
yeah.
thousands or 100,000s, but 10,000s. So it sometimes takes a while to convert the numbers into millions.
It's late. We have to work our brains a little bit harder this late. So but yeah, Splatoon 3 is number 21 on the list overall, but it's
And that's
down from
that's
20
that's a, that's from yeah, that's lifetime sales.
lifetime sales. Yep. But it did well. It still all made the
Yeah,
list
yeah.
of,
Mario Wonder
selling
passed
over a
it.
million. Yes, for sure. Uh Nintendo, it's the bearded bros. That's funny. Let's see.
So yeah, Mario RPG showed up on 31st place with 3.14 million.
Yep, that jumped
And
in there.
that was the only other. That and Wonder were the only new games to the list. Everything else was just updated numbers.
Yes. So, anything else jump out to you on these numbers?
I'm I'm still surprised that Wonder sold almost 12 million in in a short time. Whether it will also have a long tail or not is yet to be determined.
Right. Yep.
But
Well,
it is the fastest selling Mario title.
I'm imagining there's probably kids like my nephew who just eat up Mario games, like want every single one that comes out. My nephew wanted is like loves Mario. So I imagine there's a bunch more. And by the way, Sam says hi. He meant to tell you guys that. So I told him that it was just going to be me and you. So he said hi.
Okay. Oh, and there's something that Infrendo brought up. He asked if Mario RPG outsold the original. So I did a quick look at how much the Super Nintendo version sold, and according to an article in Go Nintendo, it sold 2.1 million. So yeah, the Switch version did outsell the original.
Nice. Yeah, and Dread did not have any new numbers. So no new numbers, meaning that probably it didn't go over a million.
Right.
It probably got a
Whereas,
few sales.
yeah, Dread, the last numbers we had for Dread from the fiscal year it came out, it sold 2.9. It may have reached 3, but if Nintendo doesn't report it, I don't. There's no way for us to know.
Right. All right. Any other questions in the chat about their favorite games? And
Game Builder Garage is
Nefrendo said
the
hi back to
bottom.
Sam. Nefrendo
Yeah,
said hi back to Sam, so
yeah, and
I'll let him know.
game number 49 is Game Builder Garage, 1.06 million.
Nice. Well, this numbers are always fun, and every now and then we get Justin, business Justin to come in and talk about these numbers. But hopefully, we held our ground here, Jesse, and was able to talk about some of the views, business views, and what we thought and information, and had fun with it. I had fun talking about the hardware, probably the most.
Yeah,
All right. So the other things that they talked about is digital sales up 48.1% of total software sales, which was up from 46% that they had before, which is pretty cool. I mean, a lot more people are buying from the digital store than the physical store, or both. I wonder how many people double dip.
that's
You know,
true.
get it, especially
Yeah,
if there's
there are some games that I've double dipped, and I know like other people will buy it'll game will launch digital only and then go physical and limited run games and then buy one.
that's what I did with Metroid Prime Remastered. I bought the digital one and then got the physical one that came out later. Yep.
And I did it with Doki Doki Literature Club.
You did. That's crazy. You wouldn't do something like that. What are you talking about?
Right here.
Yes. You have to do that. Just like we got the physical version of Inscription too, right? You got that one as well, right?
I didn't get that one physical, but but
What?
you can say I double dipped because I bought the Steam version and then the Switch version.
That's true. Yeah. I had it on PC. That's where I played it first. And then when it came out physically on Switch, I got it there. So, all right. Upcoming games. We talked a little bit about this. They announced in their report upcoming games, stuff we already know about. Mario versus Donkey Kong on February 16th. Princess Peach Showtime on March 22nd. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD will be summer 2024. Paper Mario, the house, the Thousand Year Door, 2024. And then still to be determined, Metroid Prime 4, which is a temporary title and still doesn't have a year on it like the others do, right? All the other games that were announced later on have years or general areas of when these games are going to come out. Metroid Prime still has nothing announced yet
Yeah.
for that.
Well, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild was on this sheet for 3 years before it got a title and a date.
True. Very true. But hopefully we'll hear about that soon. Maybe in this next direct we were predicting to come out next week. So we'll see. Maybe a teaser there.
Hopefully.
Uh, third party games. Also we have these were not listed in the report, only URL to Japan's, North America's, and UA's eShops coming soon pages. They had
So
a
I,
link
I
in the
just
report.
I just grabbed of some notable items. I didn't
Right.
grab all. I didn't. If it was looked like a shovelware, I ignored it, and
Yep.
that's
And
most of it.
we've talked about some of these before, but just to reiterate, like Tomb Raiders 1 through 3 remastered, starring Laura Croft, nobody else, just Laura Croft.
Yep.
February 14th.
Next
Unicorn, I was
week,
gonna say Unicron, but Unicorn Overlord, March 8th. And then South Park Snow Day, March
Primus
26th.
will smite you.
Yes. So those will be fun things to watch out for. But as we were talking about earlier, there isn't much to look forward to right now because we haven't gotten that direct yet. We still have February to come, or the next direct, which could be February, could be March. We don't know yet, but we're banking on February because that's the pattern. Uh, so we'll get some new game announcements there that we didn't know about before. Possibly maybe a Metroid Prime remastered for 2 and or 3. But I speculated that it would be we would get each one remastered and to help lead up to 4. So we got that. But again, that's a port and a remaster. So is there anything new coming? What do you think, Jesse? Do you think we're going to get something new?
I think they're gonna, if we get a direct next week or this month, there's going to be some surprise in there. Whether it's a surprise
Maybe
we
Donkey
want or
Kong?
not, we don't know.
Maybe
But
we'll finally get that Donkey Kong game.
maybe. Though, well, one thing when I looked up the games that were coming, when I noticed the South Park Snow Day, it's only a $30 title. So I'm like, okay, I might actually look into that one.
Hmm. Interesting.
Of course, it's the week after Princess Peach, so who knows what that'll look like.
All right. And who knows if it gets delayed too, the Switch version, because it is a game that's supposed to be out on all consoles.
No, you can you can pre-order it on
You
eShop
can?
now.
Oh, okay.
So
All
yeah,
right.
so so I don't think it'll get delayed.
Okay.
It's
I didn't
it's
know that.
fixed.
That's good. Very good. All right. So we have one or two things that are going to happen in the next direct. We're going to get some games we didn't know about, especially in the coming months, especially coming up for the summer, probably. Like that summer sports game, possibly that we'll get from Nintendo, from Camelot or whatever. And plenty of things that I know we've speculated on. I can't remember all our predictions, but hopefully we'll get something in there about those things. So there could be new games that we still aren't aware of that we'll get that could you know, people will have things to look forward to. Or we still may get a couple ports here and there to help with the Switch life. We may get a teaser in that Switch Direct for the next Switch. Who knows?
Who knows?
And it'll be exciting to see what happens. So, all right. Did I get everything? Did I get everything in the news there?
I think so.
All right. Did we get everything? Did anybody else mention anything here? Did the Switch get the Harry Potter DLC? I don't. Did that come out? I think
I
it
don't
should
know.
have. I don't remember seeing anything delay on that one, the Harry Potter DLC. I know there's a delay in the because I was looking forward to it. There's a wild card football DLC coming out with new players, legacy players. So that was delayed for the Switch. It's going to come later. It's out now for the other systems, which I thought was interesting. But
I'm looking at the eShop's DLC. They have a lot of just language packs that are free downloads. They have a Dark Arts pack for $20, but that looks like it was
I
just
don't think that
alongside that was at the same day as launch, so I don't think that's content. That's probably just costumes and whatnot.
did we even get the DLC yet for any system.
That I don't know.
5 days ago, somebody brought it up. Um, let's see. DLC.
GamingBible.com 5 days ago said that free DLC will drop this month, so it apparently has not dropped anywhere yet.
Okay, got it. So it's coming. Okay.
Whether it's coming
It's
for
not
Switch or
out
not, we'll find
yet.
out.
Yes, we will find out. And usually we'll find out that it's, dropped for the other systems and then Switch will come soon because maybe it wasn't done yet.
Yeah. And if it's free DLC, it'll probably just not be flagged as DLC. It'll just be a software update.
Yes. All right, cool. All right, well, let's drop into an ad from our sponsor. All right, everybody usually hears us talk about Manscaped. We usually have an ad read, but this time we're going to do things a little bit differently. We just want to talk, do a little bit of dad talk, a little man to whoever's listening talk.
We're not here
But
to
we want,
assume.
yes, we want to talk about, instead of doing an ad read, we want to talk about Manscaped personally, how we use it, not in details, but some of the products we use, how we use the discount ourselves. Because we get some of the things to try out to help talk about it with you guys, but then we also purchase our own stuff to keep up on it because they don't give us free stuff all the time. So like for me, I have the Peak Hygiene program where I get the body shampoo, the body wash, and the hair shampoo. Um, and then every now and then I replenish the beard stuff, for the conditioner, the oil, the wash, and all that kind of stuff. That I don't use all the time. So, but I use the Peak Hygiene program and use the discount, the NINDADS discount to get 20% off that Peak program and get free shipping on it. And it gets sent to me I think I got it set for every 2 months because that's when I need more soap. I might have to up it a little bit though, because my son's been using it now. So, but I really like it because I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about going to the store to get more soaps or shampoos.
You can sign him up for his own subscription.
I could sign him up for Zone. That's correct. That's true. Here you go. This is your stuff. Don't touch mine. So, but yeah, that's what I use it for, the code. What about you, Jesse? Do you use it for anything?
Yeah, I'm also on the every 2 months plan, and every time before it ships, I'm gonna go in and kind of mix and match of what I need that month. Like I don't need shampoo every time, don't need the body wash every time, but the so like I'll mix around with that and the deodorants with the lip balm. It just kind of So I get a little bit of everything over the course of a year, but I just don't
Nice.
get it all at once.
Yep. Good idea. I didn't even think of that, mixing it up so I can get, because the body
Yeah.
wash seems to go quicker and I got extra shampoos. So,
Yeah, you can,
uh,
and you can add like the smaller bottle into your list, or for like an extra $3 or $4, you can get the bigger bottle.
yeah, I have the bigger bottles. So, but maybe I'll switch it up so I can get two body washes instead of,
Yeah, or you can
one of
even add a
each.
third item to it. You know, it's not just limited to two.
True. Very true. Yep. So again, we're using the NINDADS code. Again, that's NINDADS for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com, where we're using the peak hygiene program. Uh, Not just for what we always talk about some of their tools that you can get. Like I use the beard hedger. Jesse, I think you have it too, but also you have the what they call the other thing because I
The
don't have
hedge
that
hedge
one.
trimmer.
The hedge trimmer. Uh, is that what that other one is?
Yeah,
The
that's like
that's the shaver,
the smaller electrical
electric
face.
shaver. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. That's the one. And then we also have our, the below the belt tools. So they have those. But the main thing that I use it for is just replenishing the consumable stuff.
yeah, yeah. And it's still, I think the shed is the best name for the carrying
Oh yeah, the
cases
carrying case. And they have a new version
because
out too. That's kind of cool.
I saw that. I was going to look into probably ordering the new shed, but I have like two of their original models.
Yeah. I use that one to kind of get my stuff out to, when
Yeah,
I'm in the bathroom
yeah.
getting ready and then I put it
Well,
away
yeah,
in the shed.
yeah. I use it as a travel bag. When
I use
I
it for that too. Yep.
throw all my stuff that I want in the travel bag, and then it goes into my luggage, and then it goes where I go.
To be honest, what happened is that I traveled with the stuff in it and then it just stayed in there and I just use it when I'm in the bathroom. So and then it's like next time I travel, it's already in the bag and
See,
I just grab it and go.
we used to do that until we got a new set of luggage. But we can't keep anything in the luggage when we're not using it because they all nest.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay.
So we've got to empty it out. Otherwise, the nesting won't work.
All right. Well, again, that's we talked about the NINDADS code where you NINDADS for you to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com to either get the tools you need from Manscaped or get enrolled in the Peak to Hygiene program where you can get stuff sent to your house on a regular basis, especially those consumables. And that way you don't have to worry about it. And your significant other or whoever goes shopping for you sometimes doesn't have to worry about that stuff either. Again, NINDADS for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. All right, Jesse, on to the next. All right, this is where we get to talk about stuff. And one of the things we have now that Marty's implemented in our weekly post and Patreon is the question of the week, where you guys get to answer the questions and we talk
We
about it here as well.
and we got answers this time.
This time, everybody's ready. Everybody was listening the last time. Marty was disappointed and nobody answered. But now everybody understands. The question of the week is for you guys to be able to answer and be part of the show and give us your answers. And that question is, what is the first Nintendo first party game you remember playing? Jesse, do you have one you remember playing, your first one?
I think the first game I would know would be the original DK Arcade, 1981.
Okay.
If we're talking about console only, this wouldn't be Nintendo first party technically because it was done by Coleco, but I had the Intellivision and the Atari 2600 versions of Donkey Kong, and I had the Atari version of Donkey Kong Jr.
Okay.
But if we're talking about Nintendo consoles, then that would be Super Mario Brothers and the Duck Hunt, that game packaged in with the hardware I bought.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, for me, it was Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt and Kung Fu actually because of the uh display for the NES at Kmart. That's what I
Oh,
remember seeing.
they had Kung Fu one demo.
They had Kung Fu up there, and I remember playing that one up there. So anytime we were at Kmart, that was I always went to that area and played whatever I could get my hands on over there, because
Kmart. That
as
dates us.
as you've heard me say plenty of times, I was not one of those kids that was able to get an NES. So that was the first game I remember playing was at the store. I didn't play it at my own home. Eventually, though, if you want to count the one I bought myself at my own home, that was the Super Nintendo Super Mario World game. That was my first owned Nintendo first party game that I remember playing. So now some of the other people have is like Hoots. He's got Super Mario World as the first one he played, and Kirby Superstar is the first one he owned. So you got that aspect of it. So Jesse, do you remember which one you owned first? You owned
Oh, it would have been the Mario Brothers because they came in
Mario.
as a pack in.
Okay. All right. And then Mecha says probably Super Mario Land, the first one when we randomly had a Game Boy in the family. I was never able to beat it as a kid, though I probably can nowadays. And then Zablanc says Super Mario Bros. Shannon also says the first Nintendo game I played was The Legend of Zelda on the NES, unless you count the Donkey Kong arcade game as well as the Atari port. So he's in the same boat as you, Jesse.
Yep.
Jamie says, I have memories before I owned any form of gaming when we were at a friend of my parents' house and their son had an NES with Super Mario Bros. I think I was about 5 or 6 years old at the time. Then Christmas in 1995, I got my very first Game Boy with Tetris and I played it all Christmas morning, as you do.
I'm I'm kind of surprised that Tetris was still a pack in back in '95. That's 7 years after its launch.
Yeah. Well, maybe they got a good deal on the pack-in version of that.
Maybe
Darth Platypus said the first game I remember playing was Super Mario Bros. He also said the same. I was looking to see in the chat if they had anything, and nothing new there.
nothing new there.
So thank you everybody for participating there. Hopefully we didn't miss anybody who posted one late after we collected these answers. But if you did, we always read them, but maybe not always online or on air in case we get them late or might have accidentally skipped it. So apologize if we did. We've been known to do that, unfortunately. So thanks for answering that question. Look forward to more questions of the weeks coming from Marty or in our Patreon posts from whoever posts them. Look for the question of the week there and answer them and let us know what your answers are in the Patreon post or in our Discord. We'll even take them via our email at nintendodads@gmail.com if that's the easiest way for you to get it to us. So thanks again to everybody who submitted their answers, and let's move on to the events. All right. As you guys know, the table happens every third Friday of the month at 10 p.m. Eastern. The community gets together at the table to discuss whatever is on our minds. If you want to join in, subscribe to us via Patreon or Twitch, get access to Discord, and join in. It is very therapeutic. Because that's what I've been told by others. I don't make this stuff up. I've been told that. So again, and if you don't know how to get into our Discord because you joined in Patreon or Twitch, it's basically in Patreon, you link up Discord after you create an account there in Discord, you link it up there, and then that's when you start getting access to anything you purchase there at Patreon. And then for Twitch, I believe it's the same thing, or on the Discord side, I think you have to integrate or connect to Twitch with Discord. So, but you can always hit me up if you are in Discord and you're trying to get connected. You can always DM me in Discord and I can help you get connected. All right. Dad's After Dark events. Look forward to their monthly mayhem coming up soon. So we'll keep an eye on that for the first one in 2024. They're taking the ideas. So if you have any ideas on what you would like to do for monthly mayhem, come in our Discord again. That's where we get a lot of information and give them some ideas. Or again, email us at nintendodads@gmail.com if you're not part of that Discord and you just want to give us some ideas there and let us know. And then we got the other thing we got going on is monthly Retro Logic Retro Rewind, which goes on in our Retro Logic channel and or the community in their own Discord channel, or Discord server, if you will. You can join them there, especially if you're into retro stuff more than you are modern day games. That is a great place to go, is the Retro Logic channel. All right. That's it for events. Let's go on to our timeout. All right, Jesse, this is your time. What's your timeout? What you got?
Okay. Well, I saw that what you put in the notes. I'm like, oh, I have something kind of related. So I went on eBay. Well, see, a few weeks ago I talked about that the 2600 plus got an update or a beta update to make it more games compatible, especially 7800 games. So I did an eBay binge and bought a few more games for it, like this Cubert that has a really crappy box, but I haven't had a chance to play that yet. And I also bought a Karateka, but I also picked up two like these original 7800
Oh,
joysticks
nice. Yes.
controllers
Yeah.
that they just feel awful in your hand. But I haven't had a chance to play these yet. And of course, like what 3 days after I bought these, the Atari announced that they're re-releasing a better quality 7800 controller,
Of course they did.
along
Thank
with
you for
some
your sacrifice, Jesse. Thank you for your
along
sacrifice.
along with reprinting 3 games. Of course, I pre-ordered that entire set. I think those aren't supposed to come in until April,
Okay.
but when they come in, I'll share that information. Might do a
Nice.
stream of some of these other games that are coming in. But yeah, they're all supposed to be compatible with the 2600 plus and your original 7800 if we still have that lying around.
Nice.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, we're on the Atari kick right now because I wanted to share the Atari games I picked up for the 5200. Again, going back to that story, because I didn't have an NES. The reason why I didn't have an NES is because my parents bought into the Atari 5200 system and the games, which was fantastic. What's that, Jesse? Everything okay?
Okay, yeah, I tried clicking into my browser to do something, but I exited the sound controls,
Okay.
so nothing got recorded for me. Or my voice might have been recorded. I'm not sure, but definitely you weren't. So rewind about 10 seconds and start over.
Okay. All right. So,
So the start of your 5200 story.
right. We're still streaming though, right? So we're good
Yeah,
there.
it didn't break the stream. It just broke the
Okay.
audio from the stream.
Gotcha. All right. So what I was saying was, we're talking about Atari stuff, and I mentioned my stories before about how I didn't get an NES because my parents bought into the Atari 5200 and all the games and stuff there. When the video game industry crashed, they were burned and did not want to buy into any other new systems. That's why I didn't get an NES. I had to buy my own new system, which was the Super NES. That being said, I have nostalgia for 5200. Even though I didn't want it anymore and wanted an NES like everybody else, I still had nostalgia for it. And when I went to a gaming store, a new one that opened up near us called Game Pawn, somebody had come in and sold them their 5200 and games that they had, in storage. And I wanted to buy the 5200 system itself because it was in great shape. It had a nice little pleather case over a cover over it, dust cover. And it was still had the box and it still had the Toys R Us receipt in it from when they bought it.
Wow.
And they were selling it for $300. But I couldn't bring myself to get it, and also too, I was thinking maybe I could bring some stuff back, maybe trade it in towards that. But I never got around to it. That's been like a couple weeks since I had gone there. But I did pick up two games because they were in boxes. This game I picked up, even though I had the cartridge of it, is Star Raiders, Atari 5200 Star Raiders. You can't see it because of the shine from my light on it, but there's price tags on it. price tags on it from when they had it in the box. And originally it was $39.95. Then it got a couple reduced price stickers slapped on top of it. I don't know what the other price was, but the last one there on that pile was $24.99 that it was reduced down to. And then finally, the last sticker I see is $7.99.
Wow. So
So
what
I
did
thought
you
that
get?
was
What
pretty
what
cool.
what did you get it for?
This I got for you know what? I don't remember. What did I pay for it?
That much, huh?
I don't remember. I probably didn't care. It was just like, how much is it? Okay, that's fine. It wasn't
Right.
like it wasn't obscene, but it wasn't something memorable, I guess. The other game I got is River Raid. It's an Activision game. Uh, not a shmup per se. Maybe it was a shmup. It's basically,
A
the vertical, um,
pseudo shmup, I would call it.
yeah, a vertical shooter. You're in a plane, you're going up a river, and you're shooting everything that's coming at you. And the reason why I got that is because I actually didn't have that game, but my grandma had it because my grandparents bought into the 5200 as well. They had it at their house, we had it at our house, and we would, exchange games or whatever. There wasn't a lot of games, but we had a few games. They had a few games. I would borrow theirs, they would borrow ours. Anyway, she had River Raid, and she played that sucker to death where she got a high score, and Activision actually sent her a patch
Oh, I
for
think you
having a
mentioned
high
that
score.
before.
Yes. I never got to find that patch. I wish I could have kept it and have that, but um that's a memory I remember seeing because found it in her drawer one time. I was helping her look for something and I came across this patch and I knew exactly what it was when I looked at it. It was a Activision River Raid patch and it had a Polaroid picture of her high score of the screen with it. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. So I had to pick up that. So that was definitely nostalgia and memories. And River Raid was my favorite for the 5200, so I had to pick that up. Not River Raid. Well, that was one of my favorites, but Star Raiders was my favorite because that was, if you don't know, that was kind of like a Star Wars-esque game where you're in space, um, and you can fly anywhere pretty much, and you have to find enemies to shoot and use the
So
keypad and stuff to get around.
so I was looking up trying to find images of a patch to send into the chat for Mecca because he was confused. I found an eBay listing of a River Raiders patch for they want $75 for it.
Wow. I didn't even think of that, looking to see if eBay had anything. $75. Oof. I don't know about that.
Uh, I I put that link to that in the chat so people can look at it.
Nice. All right. Well, that's our timeout for
Okay.
this week.
Well, I thought of one more thing. I
Jesse's
was a
got
little
one
ups-
more. Woo.
I was a little upset this weekend because I went to the antique mall. That's where I've picked up a lot of
Oh
my
yeah, that's
legacy
right.
tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up an Apple II there. I picked up the Famicom disk system there. Yeah, the merchant whose number was 420, so that was just funny. uh, for that, he's no longer there. He's no longer in the mall.
Yeah, that
The the
sucks.
the the, the booth number is now 426 instead of 420, and is just it's got stuff in it like you'd see in the rest of the building. So it's
Did you
no
try looking up
longer.
his business to see if he moved to another location or something,
I
or
don't
maybe his
even know
own
what business
location?
he was. I did talk with him in an email a while ago when I first bought the Apple because I was asking about the stuck keyboard, and he said they usually work. Just give it a few whacks. Like okay, and he was right. But
Yeah,
at some point I would like to have that properly repaired and cleaned. But yeah, so I'm not sure what business he ran, if he's even still in business.
maybe
But
you'll have to
yeah, he
find that email and see if you can
they
reach
had
out
a
to him.
he had a pinball machine there from the '60s that he had for like $1,500 that I would have loved to have, but I wasn't going to spend $1,500. Not that I
Okay.
have room for a full blown pinball machine here anyway. But I think that finally sold, and I think that was like the last straw. After that, then he just shut things down.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have to see if you can reach him an email and see if he's got another location or See, maybe he'll
I'll
let
have
you
to
know
dig
what
through my
happened.
emails and see if I still have his email address.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about what we've been playing, Jesse. All right, Jesse, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Oh, I'll go first. I only have two games. So
Okay.
I started playing Persona 3 Reload on Xbox, and I am really liking this. It it's basically, I think it's running on the Persona 5 engine, and so it's, you know, but all my complaints about Persona 3 Portable is like gone. This is the Persona 3 I remember,
Nice.
and it doesn't have the answer, the new mode from FES, but really I didn't care about that. But it was just the main game. So I'm still early on. I'm only up to like Tartarus level 22. My son, he's probably going to roll credits tomorrow, or at least this weekend.
Yeah.
He's put a lot more time into it. Uh, but then we were talking about those. We read rumors that there might be a Persona 5 remake, or I mean Persona 4 remake, and he would go crazy, and probably so would I if that did happen, because
Nice.
between 3 and 4 and 5, I think 4 is our both of our favorite game.
Okay. I wonder, because he's
Okay,
playing so much, you should ask him if he's having dreams about the game.
maybe, I don't know. Sometimes I do, and I mean I don't think I do as much as I used to, but sometimes I'll dream about games that I'm currently actively playing, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other game I've been playing is kind of a weird one. Apparently, this was someone made this and released it on Itch.io May of 22, so almost 2 years ago. It's it's a made from scratch with Game Maker version of Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. It widescreen support, uh, controller support. Though it says it's Xbox only, controller only. I tried playing it with my Stadia controller, the D-pad didn't work, so I had to go out and buy an Xbox controller. Uh, but yeah, but this isn't just a one-to-one recreation. Like the palace maps are slightly modified, adding new content. The towns are all different, adding new content. Just uh, to certain places in the overworld are just updated to add new content, and there's kind of don't want to talk too much about it because half the fun of playing this, a game I've played 15 times over, since it was new, at least, is finding the things that are new and discovering what they are, what they do. I've picked up multiple items that I'm like, I have no idea what this thing does until something happened to make me realize what exactly it is doing. And I'm like, okay, that is cool. Like there's like, uh, you know, not really a spoiler because they are hinted to it in a town in dialogue, but I won't say what it does. But there's a place where you have to climb up a mountain and save a fairy. But if you save this specific fairy, you get a benefit, and that benefit is just crazy once you find out what it does.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and they've got uh, like in-game map screens of the palace, so it makes getting lost a lot more difficult to get lost.
All right.
Or you can easily see where you've been and where you need to go.
Okay.
So I currently finished the first three palaces. I have 5 of the 8 spells. I've gone to the East Continent and got the upstab ability. And
Nice.
so yeah, I think that's the game I've pretty much have been focusing on.
That's very
And
cool.
so I did share information about it in the Discord and where it downloaded. It's a free download. I think if he charged for it, Nintendo would have been faster to put the banhammer on it.
Right. And
I
they
think that's
haven't yet, I take it, right?
well, it's been 18 months. They probably won't. And I found out about it because Pro Jared in his Let's Play channel has started playing it,
Okay.
and so he normally plays like modded games or randomizers, but just not the vanilla version of a game. Like,
Okay.
and he normally puts them out in like 30 to 40 minute chunks. He like late last year he played. I think it was called Final Fantasy Renaissance. So it's more Final Fantasy One, but enhanced. It still
Okay.
looks like Final Fantasy One, but it has more classes and more secrets hidden everywhere. And so like he spent almost I think like 32 episodes over a month playing that. Releasing videos, 30 or 40 minute videos per day. Yeah. So yeah, he has I think so far put out 3 videos for this game, and when I watched his first video, then I said I don't want to watch anymore until I play this. So I think
Right.
so I've been trying to play ahead of him
Okay.
so I don't get spoiled.
Right.
And yet I can experience the new things, see his reactions to the new things. Mecca says, "I feel like widescreen will make the game easier to play. It does change it. In fact, it's really kind of funny. When you first boot it up, you have a widescreen, but you have like the title screen as you'd expect it in the 4:3. Then when the music comes up and the title shows up, the screen widens to fill the space.
Mm, that's cool.
Yeah, and the music and the sound effects and the graphics is Zelda 2.
Okay.
So he didn't enhance that, but he just added a lot more of what's going on in the background.
Hmm. I think maybe when we're in post show, I'll have to go take a look at that and see if I can download it to my PC.
Yeah, there the documents that the author posted on the itch.io page says that there's a developer mode which lets you do things like show the hitboxes, show the hit points of enemies is a numeric number, things like that. And I've wanted to enable that, but I'm not able to turn that on for some reason.
Okay.
The way he says this keyboard sequence should do it, but I try it and it doesn't do it. So if anyone else knows about that, let me know.
Very cool. I think
Yeah,
Chris
I kind of
HL said he was playing this too, and that's his
yeah.
one
I
of
was
his games.
expecting. I expected him to hop on that when because I know he's a big Zelda 2 fan,
Yeah.
but
I'd like
he
to hear
hasn't
what his thoughts
he
are.
hasn't talked about it yet. So
All right, Chris, you're gonna have to let us know what your thoughts are on this. And Shannon said too that I think he was gonna try to download it, so because he's a fan of Zelda 2 as well.
cool.
So yeah, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are. If you guys are playing it, let us know. We wanna have a conversation. We wanna know about it. So
So if you're on the Discord, I put the link to it in the Zelda chat,
nice. Yep.
and I've been posting updates on it. So you may have to scroll back 3 or 4 days or more, depending on when you hear this. But it's in there.
All right. Very cool. All right, for me, again, I've been playing more Baldur's Gate 3 with Sam on the Retro Logic crew, and Shannon, of course, he's all over the place. He's all over the Discord. So you probably know him as Spider Shan. So we've been playing, we're almost done. We've maxed out our players, maxed out our levels, and we've just been trying to finish up clean up some side quests and before we go after the big bad boss. So of course I think there's still one other boss too. We got one boss and the brain boss. I forget the names. I'm bad at that. I can't remember their names. But there was the three main bosses that were resurrecting the big brain boss that I think we have to fight. So but
Mother
we
Brain.
got yeah, Mother Brain, exactly. We got two out of the three of the three bad guys who resurrected it or brought it up. We got them dead. Now we got one more to go. And I think we got this because we're pretty badass. So all right. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I've been playing a little bit of that too. Again, Metroidvania. It's a great game. If you haven't tried it already, what are you waiting for? What's wrong? Tell us why you're not playing it. We know some people like Drew, they don't play because they're not into Metroidvania
Well,
games, and that may be
I've
why you're
mentioned
not playing
why
it.
I've mentioned why I'm not playing it.
Hey, what's wrong with you, Jesse? What's wrong? No, I'm kidding. No, it's yeah, so we know Metroidvanias aren't for everybody, but this is pretty good from Ubisoft. And I'm enjoying the story, I'm enjoying the combat, and I like the parrying. I think it feels pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like. Yeah, it'd be interesting in knowing what the sales numbers is on this because the rumors were the speculation was when we talked about it last week that it only
It
sold
wasn't
three
doing so
hundred
well.
thousand.
Yeah.
Like the only people buying this is the media. What?
Right,
Because everyone in the media is talking about it. And everyone in the media is loving it.
right.
So why isn't it selling? If it's true.
Especially if people like Metroid Dread. It's like, and there was at least almost 3 million sales in that. So if you could get at
Yeah.
least half of that, you got 1.5 million sales. So, and plus it's on other consoles, not just the Switch. It's interesting. I don't know. Gaming community cracks me up sometimes. And it might be because it's not getting enough airtime, streaming time. Maybe people aren't playing it because of Palworld, you know?
Oh, yeah. Palworld has kind of monopolized the picture for a while.
Yeah, if you're not
Uh,
seeing your favorite streamer streaming that game, you're gonna want to play the same game they are. So they're,
that and it's Ubisoft. They've kind of trained
or
people to
waiting the
wait three
sale.
months.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot you guys mentioned that too. All right, I also been playing more Animal Crossing New Horizons. I like going back to that and just relaxing, sitting back, running around, picking up the weeds that I that's grown because I don't go in there every day. It's like a week or two, and then I got some weeds I got to pick up, and then I just like going in there and scoofing around. Nothing major. Right now it's the February festival thing. I forget they call it, but you get all the cool colored stuff like blue and red and multicolored feathers and all that kind of stuff. So that's been fun. Uh, I also, because of Baldur's Gate 3, I looked to see, I was like, okay, if I'm a fan of Baldur's Gate 3, but I want to play something like it on the Switch, what are my options? So I read a list of games, like top games. Like if you like Baldur's Gate 3, these are some games you can go back to and like because it's like Baldur's Gate 3. And one of those games is Shadowrun Returns. There's a Shadowrun trilogy, and Shadowrun Returns is the first game of that trilogy, and it was on sale on the Switch for $5. And I had some gold coins left, so I was able to get it for
Can't beat that.
yeah. So I've been dabbling in that. Uh, it doesn't have any voiceover like Baldur's Gate 3 has that great voiceover work, but so far it has an interesting story that I've been playing, getting into, getting a feel for. I just started, so really can't say too much about it other than not because I don't want to or I can. It's just I'm still just getting into it. So I picked my character, got started in the story, got through the first tutorial of how to use the RPG, the turn-based system. It kind of uses you have only so many movements type of thing, and so you got to strategize with that. You got to figure out whether you're going to block or hit with your magic. And the other thing I like about this Shadowrun Returns is it's more futuristic story. You're not in like a, you know, fantasy world that's almost like medieval times. It's more you're in the future and magic has returned to the world along with the magic you have not just humans, but you have half elves, orcs, all those type of things, that just over time started appearing because of the magic that appeared. So checking all that out, it's pretty cool. It's got a cyberpunk feel to it too. So I like it. And again, it was on sale for $5, and I'm not sure if it's still on sale or not, but I thought it was worth it, especially since I had the gold coins for it. And the last game that I got to play recently, especially with Hambo and Johnny and Bob Cousy in our Discord community on the PlayStation, I played Foamstars. It's that a lot of people associated that game when they saw it announced. to PlayStation's version of Splatoon. But when we played it, it has its own character, its own identity, if you will. It it does not feel like a Splatoon clone because you're not using foam to paint the land. Uh, so foam is a weapon. You're not killing anybody. You're, what do they call it? Not killing, but chilling. You're chilling people with foam. Uh,
Is it
so,
is
but
it cold foam?
it must be. So, but yeah, there's a couple ways you can
Cryogenical fluid.
right. You can play a couple different ways. You can do 4v4. So the with that, you got a team of four people and you're going against another team of four people, and the goal is to get foam up the other team, knock them out, and you have a snowboard that glides on on the foam that you can skate around on, and you use that to either kick people who on your team with the snowboard, kick them out of the foam that they might get trapped into a ball of foam in, so you can help them escape, bring them back to life, if you will. Or if you've put an opponent in foam, you can kick them off the board, and then it gives you a point, or it counts as one of 10 that you have to knock down on like 10 chills, I guess, if you will. If you chilled 10 people, the goal is to get down to the last one. And when you get to the last one, then whoever did the best on your team becomes the star. And so the object of the other team's goal is to hit the person who's been starred the most, to try to knock them out the most. And the goal of your team is to protect you. Doesn't matter about protecting anybody else, but the person who's been designated on the team is the star.
Oh, that is a different twist.
Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting. And we died very quickly when we first tried it. Like, not died, sorry, chilled. We got chilled very quickly.
You were eliminated.
We were eliminated very, very quickly because we jumped in. We didn't know what was going on and playing. I played after they jumped off. After a while, I went back in and jumped in a few more times to get a feel for it, so I got a better understanding of it. But I was on out of the three times they played that 4v4, I was on one winning team. Unfortunately, not with Bob, Kuzi, and Hambo and Johnny, because that was
Maybe
our first time, and we went back to the other mode they
causation or
had.
correlation?
Right. uh we went back to the other mode we liked, which is a co-op mode where it's basically almost like I said it felt like a roguelite in a way, but we were co-op roguelite where we had to take on waves of bosses that come in to try to destroy the core. It's a core that
Did you have to throw eggs around?
no uh we had to save the core to make sure that these waves of enemies, bubble enemies, didn't destroy the core. And we had to use our weapons. And it's almost a little bit like Overwatch, where you can't pick the same character somebody else has, if I remember correctly, uh, because you're trying to have different characters that have different abilities to help
Like different
you.
classes?
Yeah, the different classes, like you have your tank and you have your mid-range people and you have your short-range people, and then they have different weapons based on that, and different special abilities, special weapons as well. So you have to learn how to work together the best on that. And we were doing pretty good on that. We got at least you got to survive 10 rounds. We didn't get through all 10 rounds. We closest we got was the last round we played together, which is 9 rounds we made it. So that was the best we've done. And the lowest we got was 7. I think it was 7. So and then most of the rankings we got was, even though we didn't get all 10 rounds, we got either S rankings or S plus rankings for doing pretty good on that.
Oh,
But
wow.
basically, again, you're trying to keep waves of enemies away from the core, from blowing it up and foaming the entire planet. Uh, but you use the weapons and your
That sounds
specials.
messy.
It is messy. You got a certain number of specials you can do, and then you got an ultimate special you can do like once or twice through those 10 rounds. There's probably ways to make that go faster because, again, there's the reason why I felt like it was like a roguelite is because in between each stage, again, there's 10 stages, you get the opportunity to uh, pick from three different skills to upgrade, like you can in some roguelites. If you go through a run, you get like a card or something or a skill you can update to add, and then it makes it, you're better, your weapon shoots faster, or you get you get healed quicker from the foam or something like that. Or you can increase the weapons that the core uses to protect itself. So every round you get an opportunity to pick from one to three things, and I think all the team gets to do that. So you do that, and it helps you with you getting better as a player or the core protecting itself better from each round. You don't get to keep that though if you don't survive those 10 rounds and you got to start over, then you got to start over the building up of those things.
Ah,
But things you do get to keep is you get points. I forget what they call it, mystical points or something like that, or there's something else. I can't remember. There's a name to it. You get the points that you can apply towards the core to then increase things that you can keep, skills you can keep um, in between stages. Or in between rounds that you go. So, but that's Foamstars. I thought it was very interesting, and you can play solo and complete each of the characters they have open. You can complete their stories. It's about three rounds of stories you can go through, and then you can 100% their story, and then you get some perks that add on to your character. It is a game that is like Fortnite, where you get a season pass and play, and then you get skins and you get some free items if you bought the premier season pass. Um, so there's stuff like that, and you can buy bundles for skins, stuff like that. But it seems like it's pretty expensive. Like one bundle I saw for my character was $45. It had a lot of stuff, but it didn't seem like it was $45 worth to me at the time. I did buy a couple things because I felt like I had a good time and I wanted to, contribute to the developers' funds for building the game, if you will. So spend
mhm.
about $15 in stuff to get for my character. So that was Foam Stars for the PlayStation. Hopefully, if you have a PlayStation, it's free to go check out. You can just go download it and play for free, and it's up to you if you want to spend the money on it like I did. All right, that's what I've been playing. Let's go on to a community spotlight. All right, as we do every week, we get some good questions coming in from the community. So first off, we'll start with Mecha's question. With Konami having their own animation studio after that demo reel of the different Yu-Gi-Oh archetypes, what Konami IP do you want to see adopted into an animation by them?
I couldn't think of any Konami IP off the top of my head. I actually
Me-
just looked up a list of what Konami owns. And I'm
Okay.
like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. So I have two answers.
All right.
One, they're both kind of joke answers, but one is more serious than the other. Uh, my more non-serious answer is: Do you remember who I wanted for Smash DLC?
The track and field guy, right?
Yes,
Yes.
I'd like to see a track and field animation.
There we
That'd be
go.
that'd be funny. Yeah, but the other one I thought of, which is again still kind of a funny answer, but a little more serious, would be Frogger.
Oh, they did Frogger?
Yeah,
All right.
Frogger's Konami.
Nice. Okay. I could see that. And Konami, the track and field one, I could see that being like a dramedy. A
Oh
little
yeah,
bit of
because
drama with some
there's
comedy.
a lot of sports based anime out there,
Nice.
so they would fit right in.
All right. That's cool. I I am surprised. Maybe there is, and I'm just not aware. I'm surprised there isn't a Metal Gear animation movie.
Oh,
There There isn't one, right? I'm not aware of
I
one.
don't.
There's no
I don't
Metal
think
Gear
so.
animation, right? Anime.
Not that I remember. I don't think so.
I think Konami could do a Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear, whatever, to kind of either reboot the franchise or I don't know what word they use. Not necessarily reboot, but could reboot it, but still have the history. Uh, and by having an animation, and then you could do a new game after the animation is done. Um, Not necessarily a game based on the animation, but at least, just building from that. I think that would be kind of cool. Did we get anything in the chat about anything? Let's see.
Mecca was asking about if it really if Frogger really was Konami or if that was just licensed. But I think no, I think it's actually Konami. I'm
Okay,
trying to find. Yep, here it is. I found a screenshot. Uh, it, it says copyright Konami 1981.
nice. All right. Hopefully that Mecca likes those answers. Um, we'll go on to the next question for Darth Platypus. With all the talk of what should be on the next Nintendo console, what is one thing that you think should be left off of it?
Uh, Very little. Yeah, I think I mentioned once a few weeks ago that if they ditched the IR sensor, that probably wouldn't be a bad thing, since like a total of 4 games support it.
Yeah, especially if they put a camera on the next Switch, then they won't need the
Right.
IR, right? I was gonna say probably the simplest thing because I never saw it used properly was that the light on the button, on the home button.
Yeah, that I like the idea of the light.
I
If
liked it
it,
too, but they would use it.
yeah, but they just never used it.
Right? I thought it would be cool to see like notification light come up to say, "Hey, there's an update that you need to, that light comes on, then I know I need to go update something, or
Because
something
like, the
like that."
Wii had that blue light in the disc tray,
Yeah, that
which
was really cool.
freaked me out when I first saw that because I didn't know what it was. Because I saw it in the middle of the night as this blue glow. I'm like, what the
Right?
heck is going on?
The aliens have come to get you.
Yeah,
You're being beamed up. All right. Hopefully that's did Darth Platypus leave what he thought? I don't think so.
I
But
don't
yeah,
think he did. I normally noted if they did.
by the way, if you're in our Discord, you are more than welcome to answer these questions when they're there too. I know a few people do, but don't forget you can always go to the ask.
And I'll normally put your response to the question in the
Yeah,
notes as well.
under the Ask the Nindads channel. That's where those questions usually are. You can
Yeah.
answer them there too.
Anyway, actually, going back to Mecca's question, I saw the video of the Yugi archetypes, but since I've ev- I'm really only familiar with the original like Yugi Moto era. After that, I kind of fell off. So of all those archetypes they showed, most of them I didn't recognize. I I recognized the Blue Eyes White Dragon and Red Eyes Black Dragon
Right.
and Dark Magician, but that's those are about it.
Yeah. I don't watch much TV anymore anyways. If it
Oh,
is,
and
it's usually
Exodia.
movies or
I know Exodia.
yeah. I mean, I remember the original Yu-Gi-Oh too, but like we were talking about in pre-show, the Power Rangers thing too. So I didn't watch much of that other than when it was on in the background or the kids were watching it. So, all right. But I still think it's cool if it does come to Fortnite. I think that would be awesome. All right, going on to Hoots' question. What time of day is the best time to game? Morning with a cup of coffee, nighttime with a brewski, extended lunch break? Yes.
Whenever you have the time. Because growing up, I used to play before school a lot, and a lot of my friends thought I was crazy. But the reason why is because we only had one bathroom. My mom
Mm,
took an hour and a half
yeah.
in the bathroom to get ready for the day. and they woke me up before she used the bathroom so I can do what I need to do when I first wake up. Because if I wake up when she's in the bathroom, I gotta hold it
Right.
until she's done. And so they wake me up early, so I do my breakfast, and then I've got an hour and a half before I got to go to school. I'll play
Nice.
games for a while.
Hey, that works. Can knock out some stuff, and like if you're doing that every day, 5 days a week, knock out a game probably pretty much every week.
Yeah.
If it's longer,
Well, of
it's
course,
Final Fantasy, maybe that's a couple
yeah.
of
Of
weeks,
course,
but
back then, not a lot of games saved.
very true. Very true. So you either kept it on or and hope nobody turned the TV off.
Right.
But yes, I agree. It's usually whenever you can find the time. I've done the morning. I've enjoyed that. I've done nighttime with a drink. I've done a break at lunch, especially if I was really into a game. Especially when I was going to work, when I got the Switch, I'd bring it with me and I'd just go out to the car and play a game or something and go back in the office. It was a good way to get away. So yeah, but I'm sure there's other people who are more specific too about it. Like Drew, I remember him talking about him going and play Slay the Spire in the morning with a cup of coffee, right? So
He'd also play a round of Slay the Spire sitting in the toilet as well. So,
true. That's true. That's another place, the best time to play is apparently on the toilet. All right. Darth Platypus has another question. People have been saying that they can't announce the next system yet because it will tank Switch sales. Are any of the games we know about really going to sell all that many systems this year? So I think tanking the sales was meant more for before the holidays or during the holidays,
yeah,
not at this time of the year.
yeah. I don't think any game upcoming is a system seller, but still, for every two systems sold, there's a Mario Kart sold.
Right.
For every three systems sold, there's an Animal Crossing sold.
Yes.
So there's the the entire top 10 list is a list of game sellers that continue to sell.
Yep. 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 Yeah. So, um, they will have to have a killer game that will get people to buy a Switch 2 or whatever the Switch successor is. We all are speculating it's another Mario 3D game. So, which we think would be it, and probably even a Mario Kart 9. So, but both of those are Mario titles.
Yep.
So, but yes, I think usually when they're talking about tanking Switch sales, they're trying not to do that because they want to have something ready for the holidays to make money on. So, more than likely, we will not get an announcement of a new Switch in August because they wouldn't want to, tank this holiday sales, potential Switch sales.
Yeah. Unless, if they do plan on having the new system out for the holiday, then
Yes.
yeah, but yeah, they don't they want to have they don't want to have that overlap of announced but not um, released.
Yes. So hopefully that makes sense, Darth Platypus. Hopefully that helped. And I believe that's it. That
Yep,
is
no
all the
voicemail this
questions.
week.
No voicemail. Thanks for everybody who stopped by, as I mentioned earlier, and except for the new people that stopped by after I mentioned it, Beer, Cerveza, and Mecha Dragon, I think were the newest ones that came in after I mentioned the others. But again, thanks for everybody who came in at the top of the show, and Friendo and Hambone Johnny and all that. Jesse, anything from you before we go?
I don't think so.
All right. Well,
We still managed to make an almost 2 hour show. I thought this was going to be like an hour and a half.
well, it's the numbers. The numbers always, are a good thing.
Yeah, we were on the numbers for over a half an hour.
All right. First, huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Jacqueline Amira, RJ Kern, and the other 90 plus Patreons. Thank you so much. As I mentioned during the news, we thank you for sponsoring the news section. And don't forget, you get for $1, at least $1, you get ad-free versions of our show. So next, a special thank you to our 21 Twitch subscribers and over 1,431 Twitch followers, and a shout out to our 7,319 YouTube subscribers. Thank you all so much for your subscriptions and all that stuff, because what you do there helps us keep what we do here going on. Thank you, everybody. We would not be here if it weren't for you. Check out our website, nintendodads.org, for Spodcast. That's a new word now I just made up. Spotify podcast feeds on our show, as well as the other Nintendo Dads family podcasts like Dads After Dark Show and the Retro Logic family podcast featuring Retro Logic, On Topic Retro, Retro Groove, and Film Logic. Our latest YouTube videos and tweets, links to all our social media, Patreon, and Extra Life pages, and our Nintendo Dads merch are there as well at nintendodads.org. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, manscaped.com. Get 20% off your Manscaped order with a free shipping and with the code NINDADS. And also our newest sponsor, factormeals.com, where you get 50% off your first order with the code NINDADS50. Which, yes, I'm a NINDAD who's going to be 50 soon in next year, 2025. But anyways, NINDADS50. Get 50% off your first order at factormeals.com. And then you can contact us in most places by typing Nintendo Dads, or email us at nintendodads@gmail.com, or call in and leave a voicemail, 929-25-NDADS, or 929-256-3237. In fact, I will say this. Leave us a voicemail. Leave us a good voicemail, and we'll pick from the people who gave us voicemails. Make sure you give us your information in an email too, if you've left us a voicemail. We're going to pick from you, and you can be the winner of the Impact of Iwata book that we got, that I got one of. Oh, look, it's just part of the book. Cut it out. So it looks like it's just right there. That's pretty cool. But anyways, yes, it is the Impact of Iwata book. We got it. We backed it. I got an extra one to give away. So please leave us a voicemail. And if you win and you want a copy of that book, just let us know what your information is so we can get a hold of you if we draw your name. All right. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show. Download from your favorite podcast app of choice. And please leave us a 5-star review and a comment. For me, for Jesse, for Justin, and for Marty, we are the Nintendo Dads, and we'll check you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Do you know who I am?
Nintendo Dads.